land for other purposes is called deforestation.
Yes, very good. It is exactly right. That is cleaning of the forest for the selfishness of the human being, for the selfish use of the human being. That is called as the deforestation. So here you can see, can you see this slide over here? What I have shown you here?
Teacher, yes.
Yes,
So
teacher.
here, this is the definition of deforestation and the reasons for the deforestation, what we have already discussed in the last class. So in the last class, we have discussed that the cleaning of the forest and using the land for other purposes is called as deforestation. That means you are using that particular land for many of the purpose, maybe for building the houses, maybe for the agricultural purpose, or maybe for making hotels, maybe building for building to build big buildings. So there are many of the reasons where you are able to see your, as I have given you the example in the last class about the Bangalore city. If you see the Bangalore city, there you cannot see any of the forest area over there. You can see the big buildings over there. So for that reason, in order to protect the natural things which are present in the available, it is our duty to protect. So even we have understood the reasons for the deforestation or the causes for the deforestation. First is procuring land for cultivation. Second is building houses for factories. Third is using wood as fuel for making furniture, etc. The natural causes for deforestation are forest fires and droughts. So here you can see the picture of the forest fire. As I have told you, because of the increased temperature in the atmosphere, or because of the lightning and thundering, there will be fire cast to these places. So for that reason, you are having, these are the natural reasons. This is not like we human beings are going and putting the lighting the matchbox and putting the fire to the forest. It is not so. It is like you are able to, that is automatically done by the nature. Okay, then next is about drought. Drought is means the land has become completely dried up. You cannot do any of the work over there. You cannot do agricultural practices there. You cannot build the houses there. It is not fit for anything. That is called as drought. Okay, so these all things we had studied in the last class. So in today's class, after this, now already we have understood for what reason, by what all reasons the deforestation can happen. Now the next thing is after the deforestation. Now once the deforestation has done, now they have already cut the forest. After cutting the forest, what is going to happen? After cutting the forest, what is going to happen? That we are going to study in today's class. So these are the consequences of deforestation. So what is meant by consequences is nothing but the result of the deforestation. For example, now in SST and all, you might have studied about any battle, or if you have any, you might have studied about any wars. You might have studied about the history and all. That time there will be a thing that consequences of the battle, consequences of the war. That is the result what you have got after the war has been completed, or after that battle has been completed. Very common example, for example, there is a battle of Plassey or battle of Buxar. These all are the battles. So after this, now the battle is already completed, the war is already completed. After that war, what is the result you are getting? That is called as consequences. Now the same in science also, the same thing you are seeing. That is, you are having the presence of consequences, the result. Now the deforestation has already happened. Now the deforestation has already happened. After this deforestation, what all losses it has produced, that is called as consequences of deforestation. Is it clear what is meant by consequences? Okay.
Yes, teacher.
Next is there are totally 7 consequences of the deforestation. The first consequence of the deforestation is increase in the temperature and pollution level on the earth. That is, because of this deforestation, there will be increased temperature. Why there will be increased temperature? Because if there are no trees, the sun rays will directly fall on the land. If the trees are there, through the tree they have to reach the land. But here the intermediate, the trees are not stopping the sun rays which are coming from the sun. So for that reason, directly the sun rays are falling on the land. So the temperature of the land which is there, that will be increased. That will be increased, and even the pollution level, because if there are no plants, there will be no oxygen. If there is no pure oxygen present, that will be the reason for the creating many of the pollution, noise pollution, water pollution, wind pollution, because there are no plants which can absorb the pollutants which are present in the atmosphere. So that is the first consequence, that is increase in the temperature and pollution level of the earth. Increase in the temperature and pollution level of the earth. Okay, next, increase in the level of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere leading to global warming. So what does it mean is, as we don't have the plants, because plants need carbon dioxide more in number for the process of photosynthesis. When plants are only not there, the carbon dioxide which is left by we human beings or the living organisms, that will be left in the atmosphere. So when the plants are only not there to take the carbon dioxide, so even that will be increased in the number, increased in the amount, and that will increase the heatness of the earth. And that heatness of the earth is nothing but global warming. Global means earth. Warming means the earth is getting heated up. That is called as global warming. So that is the second reason you have to remember, that is increase in the level of carbon dioxide that leads to the global warming. Clear? Next, lowering of the groundwater level. So as I told you, even photosynthesis is a process where you need the maximum amount of water. When the plants are only not there, when the plants are not able to absorb the water which is present in the ground, even that is also reduced because of the cutting of the forest or clearing of the trees. Okay, next, the last one is disturbs the balance in the nature. As I have told you, if the trees are not there, we are not getting proper oxygen, we are not able to have proper air, the wind is not blowing properly, so we are having many diseases. Human beings especially, they will be facing many of the diseases if there are no trees around us, because especially the respiratory diseases, since we are not having any kind of we are not able to have the 1 minute. Okay. Okay. Since there is increased in the temperature, because of that reason also there is a decrease in the disturbance in the balance of the nature. Okay. Next is decrease in rainfall leading to drought, because as there are no plants, there will be no rainfall. When there is no rainfall, then the land will not be fit for doing anything. So that time the land will become dry because of the drought. Next is soil erosion and decrease in the soil fertility leading to desertification. So that land, when it is completely dry, when we are not able to do anything with that land, so that process is called as desertification, because the soil which is there, that will completely lose its ability to produce any kind of plant over there. So only in the deserts and all, especially in Rajasthan where you see the deserts and all, there you are not able to see any kind of plant except cactus. Have you observed in TVs and all, when you see the deserts and all, you are not seeing any kind of plant over there except the cactus. Do you know what is meant by cactus? Have you ever seen
Teacher,
cactus?
no. No, teacher.
Later I will send you the photograph. That time by you have seen, but you cannot understand. You will not be remembering what is the cactus look like. Okay, I will send you the photograph. That time you will understand what is the cactus. So desert is a place where you cannot see any kind of plants staying over there, plants growing over there. Only you can see a plant called as cactus grown over there. Okay, so for that reason, even the land here also in India, in Karnataka or in India, if you see, there are places like our places. If there is no trees present in Khanapur, if you consider, then that time what happens is completely the land will become dry, and after some years it will completely turn into desert. So that process is called as desertification. Okay, last is decrease in the water holding capacity of the soils leading to the floods. So that is, if there is no water content present in the soil, so even that will decrease the water content. It will capacity of holding the water content in that particular flood, in that particular area. So for that reason, even deforestation is a major reason for having this the water holding capacity of the soil. So these are some of the consequences you have to remember when it comes to the deforestation. Okay, next point is drought. Here they have explained. The explanation is all is not needed. Just you have to remember what is meant by desertification. Desertification is nothing but removal of the top layer of the soil, exposes the hard and rocky layers of the soil which have very less humus and air. As they are less fertile, soil becomes less desert. It is termed as desertification. So basically, you are not having any quality of the desert where you can grow the trees. So that particular process is called as the desertification. Next, now already we have told that or whenever there is a loss, there is a solution to protect the wildlife. So for that reason, when there is a loss, even there is a way to protect the natural resources. So here these are some of the natural resources which you are supposed to study. The very first type of natural conservation of forest and wildlife. So here the very first thing is forest and wildlife can be conserved by setting up areas like biosphere reserves, wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, etc. So these are the areas, these are the places where you can conserve or where you can protect the plants and animals. The very first thing is biosphere reserve. These are the large areas of protected land or conservation of biodiversity and the traditional life of the tribals living over there. So these are the area which is, no doubt it is an open area, but here there are people to look after the plants and animals. Those peoples are called as the tribals. The tribals, that is, tribals are nothing but the persons who are traveling from one region to another region. So those are called as the tribals. So that time what happens is they are looking after the plants and animals which are coming in that particular area. So that is called as the biosphere reserves. That is a large area where you can see this type of protection. Okay. Next is national parks. National parks are areas reserved for wildlife where they can freely use the habitats and natural resources. So these are the wildlife area where we can utilize the plants or we are not able to make the use of the animals and plants being present over there in biosphere, but in case of national parks you are able to take the use of the plants and animals which are present over there. Okay, next, wildlife sanctuaries are the areas where animals are protected from any disturbance to them or their habitat. So wildlife sanctuaries are the one, no doubt, even they are the ones which are protected here, but here there are no visitors. It is on the basis of the entry of the visitors or to see the animals which are present over there. That is, regularly the people are not coming over there. Only for a particular period of time, people are coming, visiting, and they are going. So here you can see they have given three pictures. The very first picture is of Biosphere Reserve, which is a very large area, and the second one is the national parks, and the third one is the bird sanctuaries. But here there are elephants. Don't think the teacher told it as birds. Only birds should be present. But here commonly animals are kept in a very small area, not a large area like Biosphere Reserve and all. It is a small area under protection. Okay. So these are the protective measures where we can protect the animals from the any of the things which is not good for them. Okay. So here first one is Biosphere Reserve. In this Biosphere Reserves, first you have to understand what is meant by Biosphere Reserve. Biosphere reserves are the large areas of protected land for conservation of biodiversity and the traditional life of the tribals living over there. So I have told you there are a particular set of people who are looking around the animals and plants. Those are called as the tribal people. In that, the animals, the different types of animals and the plants which are living, that population is called as biodiversity. That population where there is a combination of different types of animals as well as plants, those are called as the biodiversity. Okay, so here you can see biodiversity is a variety of plants, animals and microorganisms found in that particular area. It is not like only one type of plant or only one type of animal is kept in that. Hundreds and thousands types of animals and plants, microorganisms are being preserved or protected in that particular area. So that is called as Biosphere Reserve. Okay, so here they have given one of the example. The Panchmari Biosphere Reserve consists of a national park called as Satpura and two wildlife sanctuaries called as Bori and Panchmari. So they have given the example of a biosphere. In that biosphere, there is a presence of one national park called as Satpura and two wildlife sanctuary called as Bori and Panchmari. So here biosphere is so much big that even in that biosphere they can have the national park also, even they have the wildlife sanctuary also. So you can imagine the size of the biosphere reserve. It is so big. So that is the name of the biosphere reserve, that is called as Panchmari. And in that Panchmari reserve, there is a presence of one national park and two biosphere reserve, that is called wildlife sanctuary. One is called as Bori and one is called as Panchmari. Okay. Next is flora and fauna. Or do you know what is meant by flora and what is meant by fauna without seeing here in the slide? Okay, flora is nothing but commonly the plants are called as flora and fauna is nothing but the animals which are found in that particular area, those are called as the fauna. Okay, for example, the flora of Panchmari consists of sal, teak, wild mango, jamun, silver ferns, etc. The fauna of Panchmari consists of wild dog, cheetal, wolf, leopard, blue bull, barking deer, etc. So these names you have to remember. These are the very important names of the plants and the animals which are present in the Panchmari biosphere. That is, in plants, if you want to tell, it is sal, teak, wild mango, jamun, silver fern, etc. And in birds and in animals, it will be wild dog, cheetal, wolf, leopard, blue bull, etc. So here you can see the example. The very first three are the example of the flora, and the three at the below, the three are the example of the fauna. Okay. Then the next comes about the endemic species. The next part is about the endemic species. So here endemic species are the ones which are very particular in that particular area. For example, if I consider Belgaum and Khanapur, if I consider there is a presence of parrot over here. There is a yellow color parrot over in Khanapur. That is present only in Khanapur, and that is in a huge number. That yellow color, that sorry, not huge in number, that is present in that particular area only. That is only in Khanapur you can see the, yeah, it is not true, okay, I am just giving you the example. Only in Khanapur you can see the yellow color parrot, but nowhere in the world or nowhere in the India you can see the yellow color parrot, but that is found only in Khanapur. Okay, so that is called as the endemic species, the plants or the animals which are present only in that particular area, those are called as the endemic species. Okay, and these names also you have to remember, the examples of the endemic species. It is animal or it is a plant. In the exam anything can be asked, whether it is a plant or whether it is a animal, anything can be asked in the exam. Okay. So here sal and wild mango are the endemic flora of the Pachmari. Bison, Indian giant squirrel and flying squirrel are the endemic fauna of this particular area. So these names you have to remember whenever if it is asked, you have to write it in the exam. Okay. The next is wildlife sanctuary. Wildlife sanctuaries are the areas where the animals are protected from any disturbance to them, to their habitat. The killing or capturing of animals in the wildlife sanctuary is strictly prohibited. So basically what does it mean is, wildlife sanctuaries are areas where animals are protected from any disturbance to them or to their habitat. Okay, that is meant by wildlife sanctuary. So here you can see the examples, monkey you can see, squirrel you can see, elephant you can see. Here, yeah, no, this is the example of any kind of plant. We don't know what kind of plant it is. So here there is no disturbance of human beings in this wildlife sanctuary. So this is the area where it is being prohibited for all the things. Okay. Next is national park. Today's last topic will be the national park. That is nothing but national park are the areas reserved for wildlife where they can freely use the habitat and natural resources. That is, wildlife is a particular area where you can use the things present over there. That is, you can use the animals or you can use the plants which are present particularly in that particular wildlife sanctuary. So here you can give the example of the Satpura National Park is the first reserve forest in India. Here they have given the example of the bison. Bison is an example of the fauna which is present in the Satpura National Park, which is the first national park in the India. Okay. So these are about the conservation method of the plants and animals. So last topic is remaining about which are the different types of projects which they have been taken care in order to understand, in order to protect some of these very important parts of the important animals present in India. For example, they